You in this battle, man, I'll soon be dead. I'll glue your face to my dick so I can fuck with your head. I got metaphors coming through my pores. You probably never been in a battle before, so I hope you realize your mistake. There ain't no party, got some candles, this will be a piece of cake.
Folks, welcome to the Before Hours podcast, an internet radio phenomenon hosted by an occasional morning person. I ask the most interesting people I know about their sleep, their routine, life, love, stress, setbacks, and whatever else comes to mind. Please write to us at the Before Hours podcast at gmail.com. But for now, friend, comedian, hilarious stand-up comedian, and someone that off mic expressed interest in bulking, Ballew. Welcome, Bo.
Thank you, Bobby. I'm happy to be here.
So before we started recording, you asked me what a dirty bulk is.
Yeah.
And boy, am I excited to tell you. Dude,
let's hear it.
Dirty bulking is a thing that, so it's popular in the bodybuilding community. And the idea of, so for people that don't know, a bulk is the opposite of a cut. So,
sure. Naturally.
I don't know, people, my dad definitely doesn't know what bulking and cutting is. So I'm talking as if my dad is listening, which he is.
Hi, Bobby's dad.
He is. My dad loves my podcast.
I hear you're a healthy sports fan.
He is. Yes. Oh, dude, he accompanied me to my first he was the reason we went.
He took you. Yeah.
We'll get into my NFL journey, but for now, dude, bulking. Okay. So cutting is when you're trying to lose weight. Most Americans are cutting or trying to cut. We're a very fat country,
yes,
as you know. But bulking is when you're you want to get more muscular, right? So in order to gain muscle, you just got to gain weight in general. And there's two theories about how you could gain weight. One is a clean bulk, which is you're eating chicken breast, you're eating rice, you're eating salads, protein powder.
That sounds miserable.
So that is a clean bulk because you're eating quote unquote clean food, like it's protein,
healthy.
It's healthy. And then a dirty bulk is, man, you just gotta, if you want to gain muscle, you gotta gain weight. I know how to gain weight. Eat a dozen donuts for breakfast.
So it's just mass for mass's sake.
Mass for mass's sake. It's like, worry about the body fat later. You gotta get big.
I definitely lean clean because there is some mass that I would like to see go away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not like necessarily concerned with my weight.
Yeah.
As far as like, oh, I need to weigh 235 pounds to like hit the goal of bulking. I would like to lose a little bit of the tum, you know, because like I was saying, I'm not drinking anymore. I'm like, this would be a good time now that I cut those calories to see if I can do it. You know, just like get like pretty muscular. Like I'm not even like, oh, I need to like, I don't have like benchmarks. It's pretty abstract.
Yeah.
I just would like to see like how much like stronger I can get.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Do you do any strength training?
Yeah. I go to the gym like most days. I work from home, so it's like pretty easy to just on like my lunch break, just hop over to the gym.
That rules. What gym?
Planet Fitness off the Myrtle Wyckoff stop.
Oh,
Shout
my God,
out to
dude.
it. Is that your gym?
No. Well, Planet Fitness is my gym and I live very close to the Myrtle Wyckoff.
Which one do you go to?
I go to the one in Union Square and I'll tell you why. Because as you know, the one in Myrtle Wyckoff is outside, not outside, but it's
an outdoor gym.
It's an outdoor gym, which is difficult to do in January. No, it's as you know, it's multiple stories, so it's not in the basement. A lot of the Planet Fitness gyms in America are in a basement, but in New York, because there's like very little real estate. As you know, it's like upstairs.
Some of them are like 2-3 floors.
And the one in Astoria, I can't handle. It's because it's 3 floors, and I can't remember what machines are on what floors. It's I'm basically getting a lot of cardio steps in from going up and down
the one
the
on
stairs.
the Flushing J is kind of like that. It's like 2-3 floors. It's technically my home gym. But I don't go to that.
Are you
one.
a Black Card member?
I'm a Black Card baby.
Dude, yeah, I'm a Black Card member too.
We use the tanning beds. Look how tan I am. You see that?
I do not use the tanning bed.
I don't use the tanning bed. The tanning bed at Planet Fitness sounds horrifying.
The one on Myrtle Wyckoff, the Planet Fitness there, they have windows. Like there's full sections where there's no walls. It's just a window from ceiling to floor.
Right.
And it gets very sunny. And I hate that.
It does.
Listeners know I'm a vampire who hates the sun.
This man hates the sun.
I hate the sun.
For
dude.
someone who considers himself a kind of morning person, you hate the sun that much?
That's the thing. And the listeners know this. My relationship with being a morning person is that if I did not do stand-up, I would be a morning person. I love the way it feels when I wake up before everyone else.
Amazing, dude.
It feels great.
It's the best. Like just waking up and feeling like I have the whole day ahead of me is a great feeling. Like I think of myself as a morning person, but not a morning person in the sense where I'm like, Oh, I set alarms on the weekends. I just like I have a 9 to 5. So my internal clock, I think, is pretty adjusted to that where like I'm not going to sleep in super late unless if I'm like up to like 4 or 5 in the morning, which I'm not anymore. So it's like I'm kind of like I'll wake up at like 9:30 on a weekend. And that's like I'm like, OK, I slept in a little bit, but I have the whole day. I think 10 o'clock is optimal weekend wake up time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anything actually 10. Yeah, that's perfect. If I wake up past 10, the closer I get to 11 a.m., the more I start to feel like a piece of shit.
I concur.
Even if I was doing like something productive the night before, maybe I did a set at midnight.
Ooh,
just my
maybe you
nightmare,
did.
by the way. I'm very happy to do any spot that's given to me, but when it starts at midnight, I get very, very
It's
sad.
kind of like yes, but it's also like fuck.
because caffeine will have to be involved
Of
first
course.
of all.
Does caffeine like typically like in an ideal day of caffeine consumption for you? Is there like a cutoff time where you're like, I can't drink caffeine after this time or I'm going to be up all night?
So yeah, I'm very sensitive to caffeine, but I'm also addicted to it. What a fun combination that is.
How much caffeine do you drink a day?
Not a lot anymore. I used to drink coffee like Charlie and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's doing the Pepe Sylvia thing. That's how much. Would you calm down and have another?
You
cup
did
of
have
coffee?
that energy where you were like, you kind of went, I don't want to say QAnon, but QAnon. You were like just super hyperactive and you were like, I know things.
Yeah.
And I was like, Bobby, we know you know things. You told us 15 times already today.
That's such a funny way to put, like, yeah, just take a deep breath. We value you and your opinion. You could take breaths in between your sentences. That's such a funny way to put it, dude. But yeah, I used to drink coffee all the time. Now, I will do big cup of coffee in the morning.
Yeah, you
Like,
make it or you buy it?
I make it.
With what?
So I have a Contigo machine.
Is that like the metal espresso
Yes.
thing? I have one of those. I like it a lot.
And so, but that gives you like a, I have a big mug.
I have a tattoo of one.
Oh my God. Actually that's not, I think we were talking about different things.
We're talking about different things.
Mine's the thing
apologize.
where you have like the big Contigo mug that's like probably the size of my forearm. It's lower than a little
Your
less than the size
forearms
of
are
my
huge.
Thank you, but the width is not. Or no. I'm sorry. The length is not. I'm a petite gentleman, but I have.
He's
been working on my
relatively
forms.
jacked.
Ooh, hell yeah, dude. That's I actually make all the guests say that before they agree to come on the
It
podcast.
was in the contract.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm glad you decided to mention it so we didn't have to splice it in later. Sometimes me and Jamie have to work it out after the podcast.
I'm a natural conversationist. You know what I mean? So it's like you look at that hand gesture. You know, look how good at conversation I am. It's so effortless for me to like sneak in script.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
and you'll get the Squarespace ad in later. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, that'll come. And when it comes, you'll be like, wow, this man's good.
That it was really good, dude. So yeah, I drink coffee, big cup of coffee every day, and then I'll allow myself to have one more hit of caffeine if I would like it or feel like I need it.
Define a hit.
So like another serving. I'm not like intravenous. 2 cc's of Diet Coke in my left vein now.
Diet Coke's the shit, though.
I love Diet Coke, dude. But I sat at a coffee shop before I came here. So I had my second cup of coffee.
Nice.
But it was like a Bushwick Cool Cafe small
Would
cup
you get
of coffee.
a cortado?
Just black.
Oh, you're just a black coffee man.
I'm very boring with my liquids.
I
I will say water, black cherry seltzer.
Black cherry seltzer. That's not boring. I'd say that's got a little like pizzazz to it.
It's got a little bit of pizzazz. Black cherry seltzer, water. I love water, dude. Listeners, watchers, if you're watching the YouTube video, you know I'm drinking water.
100 ounces a day.
100 ounces.
That's the goal.
I think. So I drink 32. What's 32 times 4?
That's about 128. So that's like a gallon. That might be a gallon. I'm almost tempted to say gallon's 164 ounces, but that does seem a little high.
Yeah. I pee a lot, but I love peeing.
Dude, small bladder gang?
Small bladder gang.
Small
Whoop,
bladder
whoop.
gang, loud and proud. Yes,
Yeah.
I pee a lot too.
Are you so you're a hydro homie?
I drink a lot of water.
Okay.
And I pee a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a water man. I'm a coffee man. I drink my coffee black, but my preferred vessel of coffee is cold brew. I like cold brew, but I make cold brew at home sometimes with like my French press, but more often than not, I'm like, that takes like the night before or like the morning before even like kind of making it for the next day. So oftentimes I'll just do my little espresso thing that I put on the stove or like French press.
Ooh, French, dude, that's so sexy. That's such a sexy way to.
It sounds sexier than it is. I remember when I got a French press, I was like, oh, this is kind of hot, you know? And then now I just drink it. I'm like, this is just a very like just average cup of coffee with French in the title of its creation.
I'm very like if you give me a like I've had Turkish coffee, it's very nice.
I've never had it. I want to try it with the sand.
Yeah, you get the which I didn't know. I was like Turkish coffee, whatever, and then Arabic coffee, which is like the same.
Oh, is it?
I know that sounds like I'm being racist.
He's
but
not.
I'm not.
Look at him. He couldn't possibly be racist.
Look at me. I won't. I wouldn't say I look racist, but I would also say I don't look not racist.
You don't look impossibly not racist. You actually look like someone who very could be racist in a different reality.
But like in an academic sense.
Yes.
You know, I'm wearing a sweater.
You're like measuring skulls and stuff. You're like a Nazi scientist.
Palatable racism.
You're like, it's all the proof is in the pudding.
I'm just saying racist. Yeah. But yeah, that's how okay, so we have similar relationships to caffeine, coffee, water.
I don't have a cutoff though.
So you'll drink like would you drink a say you have to be asleep in an hour, are you popping open a Diet Coke?
I could. I've done it before. I probably wouldn't, but I could. On Friday night, I had a cup of coffee at like 6 o'clock and I went to bed at like 11. No problem.
Dude, caffeine fucking, it wakes me up, and something about, folks, if you're at work, turn this down.
NSFW.
I don't know why you're listening to the podcast without headphones, like you're Milton in Office Space, but
kind of respect that move though.
I would respect
for
that.
Sure.
It helps get the word out for sure.
Yeah, that's huge.
But
people are like, I will never listen to that.
They're like, this guy sounds kind of racist.
That podcast that Trevor listens to with the sound, I fucking hate it.
But caffeine at night, sometimes it's necessary. Like if I have a midnight spot, I have to drink a little bit of caffeine. But if I have caffeine at night, first of all, I'll have trouble falling asleep. And I don't know why, Bo. It makes me a little horny.
Horny.
I don't know what that is.
Fascinating.
So I have a couple theories. One is that if I'm on a date with a girl, I don't drink alcohol. And so if we're at a bar, I will.
You'll go coffee on a date at a bar?
No. But I'll get a Diet Coke.
Oh, sure. So yeah, because you don't do the non-alcoholic beer thing, right?
Okay, so we're both sober Sallies.
Yes.
When I quit drinking, and I want to hear about your journey, because it's recent, isn't it?
About like closing in on 3 months.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
thanks, man.
So when I quit drinking, I was still living at home.
How long ago was this?
This was in 2016.
Okay, so you have miles on me.
Yes, I was gonna put it that way. Yeah, Bo, I got miles on
3
you.
months. I remember when I hit 3 months.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't in New York City doing comedy. I'll tell you that much. I was living in my parents' basement, working a job that didn't give me a lot of money.
And look at you now.
And look at me now, dude. Now I don't live in my parents' basement.
And I have a job that doesn't pay me well.
I have a job where I'm currently losing money doing it. But
that's sick.
But I'm having a nice time.
But you have the privilege, dare I say, the honor of being a cog in the capitalistic machine, which is an honor.
I do sort of simp for capitalism.
Yeah, as you should. It's your duty as an American.
And I love America, dude.
I love America. I love our economics is flawless, I would say. I would say you come to America to participate in capitalism. You stay in America to figure out our healthcare system. That's what I always say.
Dude, and that's where I get the most left wing I could be.
Healthcare?
Dude.
Well, you and I had a conversation about you trying to go to the doctor a couple of weeks ago.
I did try to go to the doctor.
And it sounded like a nightmare.
The American tries to go to the doctor challenge. Impossible.
But, you know, like during COVID, I got like deep into Buddhism and there's a state of nirvana that is often talked about. That's like the state of enlightenment. Like, not like, I truly believe that as an American, you reach enlightenment when you finally understand how our healthcare works.
Ooh.
And that's what the Buddhists were talking about. When they said nirvana, they understood copays and deductibles and which doctors didn't take their insurance or why, or if they had a $25 copay, but then they get a bill for $200. They're like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I think, and having the tranquility to be like, this doctor said he took my insurance and he doesn't. And also the doctor seems to be mad at me.
And that's his right to do
And
so.
and I am so one with the universe
Yes.
that I don't care.
You're like, this is the way.
My name is Bobby. The doctor has referred to me as Billy several times. That's okay.
That's part of the system.
Mm-hmm.
And
Dude, if I did crowd work as a comedian and I regularly got people's information incorrect the way a doctor has,
you would be considered a bad
I
comedian.
would be considered a bad comedian. I'm like, you work in construction? They were like, I literally just told you that I work in an office. And I was like, and you're from France? He's like, I am from Detroit. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm doing my best.
Detroit
Doing
is
my goddamn best.
the France of the Midwest. We all know this.
We all know this. My man knows. And then the guy is just like, I don't know. And I'm like, that'll be $300, please.
Yeah, you charge him $300 after.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, doctors suck. But when I quit drinking, my mom was like happy. She was a big proponent. She's one of many people that were like, thank God you came to this conclusion.
Yeah, sure.
And she brought, I think it was a 6-pack of non-alcoholic Rolling Rock, if I remember correctly.
Rolling Rock makes non-alcoholic beer. That's huge for me.
Yeah.
I love non-alcoholic
And I
beer.
drink non-alcoholic beer, I want to say for 2, possibly 3 months. And then I was like, I don't think I want beer ever again.
Sure.
Yeah. So because I think I was like, this is empty calories. It's a reminder of what I can't drink. I don't, and I know, like, because
I feel that way with mocktails.
Really? Okay.
Yes, not with the beer though.
Interesting. Okay. So because a mocktail, and that's the thing is I'll go to, like, I went to a New Year's Eve party and my friend Andrew, who's been on the podcast, he's very nice. He brought like a 6-pack of non-alcoholic beer and I was like, I will not drink that. And I felt bad because he thought
it's a nice gesture.
It is a super sweet gesture, dude. But the whole time it's twofold. It's one, I'm drinking my calories. I hate drinking my calories.
Yeah, as someone who's bulking, he's doing a clean bulk.
I'm doing a clean bulk, which I'm doing a mini bulk. People are gonna laugh at my conception of a mini bulk because it is.
I think I read about mini bulking on your website. You made that on Squarespace, didn't you?
Yeah. The master of work, guy. You were watching Michelangelo paint the Sistine Chapel.
You were watching the Michelangelo of advertising.
You know,
He's so good at participating in capitalism.
There is some douchebag in a suit and tie-dye right now that unironically thinks of himself as being the Michelangelo of advertising.
Of course. Let me tell you, he's an awesome dude. He's a dude I want to hang out with.
He's getting pussy right now.
And let me tell you, he's probably not sober.
And he's probably not, dude. Yeah, okay, cool. So walk me through what's 3 months sober been like.
It's been very positive, I think. I basically like had spent the year leading up to my deciding to stop drinking in therapy being like, maybe I should stop drinking, and then being like, nah, you know, like I don't have a problem, you know,
dude. And the function of nah in an alcoholic's life, I can't overemphasize how vital it is.
Yes, it's huge.
To while you're still drinking,
it's the ultimate trump card
to go. Like you're so far removed from. They're like, but you know, you embarrass yourself at the party. You're like, oh yeah. And you're like, people don't want you to come back to the party. You're like, that's true. But like,
but fuck them. That's on them.
That's what when you're a problem drinker and you're still drinking, various noises are what get you through.
Like I what I was doing like in the couple of months leading up, I'd be like going on a date and I'd be like, well, I'm going to want to drink more than this girl.
Right.
But I'm going to keep pace with her on the date. I'd go to a bar before and get like a beer shot before the date.
That's so funny.
And I was like, that's completely normal behavior.
Yeah.
You know?
To be like, well, I drink too much. And when people see it, they get concerned. But
What
why
if
don't
they
I
don't
just
see it?
Yeah,
If a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to see you drink, then did you drink?
Only the doctor and the undertaker know how much I really drink.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I think now I'm like, oh, that was probably just nerves before a date.
Mhm.
Like I didn't realize how much of a social crutch it
Mhm.
was for me.
Mhm.
And when I stopped, I was a much more adamant drinker of non-alcoholic beers, especially in the beginning, because it's like I spent a lot of time in bars and stuff.
Yeah.
I want this to be like as seamless of a transition as possible.
Uh-huh.
And like I was telling you before we started that I went to a bar and watched football yesterday.
Yeah.
When I'm out at a bar with like friends who drink, I'll drink non-alcoholic beers.
Uh-huh.
Like I still like the ritual of going to a bar, ordering a drink, sitting down. I like being in a bar and I like having a drink at a bar. But like when I was at my sister's house for Christmas and like they were all incredibly kind. My family's been very supportive, very cool. Like they like had a bunch of non-alcoholic beers. They like bought a ton. And in that context, I'm like, I don't want this. Like
Yeah.
I'm fine drinking a Diet Coke or a LaCroix or water. I'm fine with whatever. Like I don't really feel like I need to feel like I'm drinking here.
Yeah.
And it's not even at the point like at a bar where I want to feel like I'm drinking. It's just I've grown to like non-alcoholic beers. But I still like when you're drinking non-alcoholic beers versus like regular beer, you have like a session when you're drinking and you have like a shit ton of beers and the alcohol numbs the fact that you just drink a bunch of beers. So you don't necessarily feel the bloating and stuff. But when you're drinking non-alcoholic beers, you're inherently going to drink less, at least in my experience, because you have like 3-4 of them and you're like, oh, this is what it would feel like to eat an entire loaf of bread.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I like the urge is less. Like even last night, the couple of the bars we were at, I was just like, I'll just have Diet Coke. I'm fine with that, you know? So it's like now that there's a more of a normalcy around it, I don't feel as big of a need to do it. But mocktails, I do not like. I've had like maybe one that I like. On a date, I had one that was pretty good at like a good cocktail bar. But largely, I'm like, they charge just as much as they do for like a martini.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just juice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I went to a bar when I went to Oregon for Thanksgiving and I got a mocktail. And what they try and do with mocktails now is like recreate the bite of alcohol. And this bar in Portland, Oregon, recreated the bite of alcohol with apple cider vinegar.
Ugh.
Have you ever had apple cider vinegar?
I hate all vinegar so much.
Apple cider vinegar is horrendous to taste.
Ugh.
It's like it just tastes like vinegar. Like it's like vinegar and kombucha combined. So it's like,
here, why don't you drink some salad dressing?
yeah, I'm like, fuck this. Like, no, like I would have enjoyed a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
You know, like this, I'm like, why am I like trying to like feel like I'm drinking, you know? And that was kind of like, oh, I don't like mocktails.
Yeah. 100%, dude. Yeah. I think, a cocktail bar. The thing is, I just wouldn't go to a place where they like look at me strange if I want a Diet Coke or a cup of coffee. You know what I mean?
I feel like most places wouldn't be like off put by that. I feel like especially bartenders, a lot of bartenders are sober. They get it. You know what I mean?
The only time where I've been at a bar where the person that I was ordering from was like weird about me not getting a drink was when I was in Atlantic City for my friend's bachelor party.
Oh, sure.
And all my friends know I don't drink, and they're not big drinkers themselves anymore. I mean, we're all crazy in college, but
they had that gear that I didn't have where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, moderation is kicking in, you know?
and I don't have it either. And it was crazy. The realization when, and I don't know if you've experienced this, but I certainly did when I first started not drinking. And then I would go, like, I quit drinking and I would go to social functions in which there was drinking. And then I'm like, okay, when everyone starts to get like smashed, that's going to make me feel weird. And I'm just going to dip early. I'm going to allow myself to dip early if need be. And then the embarrassment I felt when no one was wasted. And I'm like, how many situations have I been in where I'm like, everybody's fucking wasted.
No one was.
No one was. And everyone at the party was annoyed with me. So yeah, that's eye-opening.
It's made me view how people around me drink a little differently, where it's like, I definitely was an enabler, and I think like my wanting to drink rubbed off on other people.
Yeah.
But like I watched like some of my friends, like I was in Texas and I was hanging out with some friends in Austin, and we were at like a bar that played like 80s music. It was dancing, it was fun. And one, I had a ton of fun. And I was like, cool. And then two, I was watching my friends just not constantly go to the bar to get new drinks. And it's like, huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You know? It's like if I was still drinking, I'd live at the bar pretty much.
And I'm similar in that even if I was doing something I liked, I'm like, well, plus alcohol, I'll like this even more.
Right.
And I went to a concert one time and I blacked out during the concert, and I woke up the next day and I'm like, I don't remember the concert I went to. It would sure be nice
like
to
$70 for this concert.
And another $70 on the drinks.
Drinks at concerts are so expensive, dude. And like what I've like started to realize is like how much of like my being out at these events, how much like the cloud of like chasing the dragon was like weighing over me. It was like consciously being aware where I was in my drink, when I'm getting my next drink, that kind of thing. Where it's like now I'm just like more present when I'm at places because I'm not like thinking about the next drink, you know?
And to me, if I was in social situations, well, back when I drank, I didn't live in New York, so I'd have to drive places. And like I remember one night I was DD, and I like literally dreading being a DD, which just means hanging out with my friends not wasted.
Yeah.
And I should enjoy that.
And it felt like a punishment.
It felt like a punishment. And I remember having some, like, I can have a few drinks, but obviously I can't get wasted. I'm with my friends that are watching me. Like I can't, and I'm their responsibility. Right. But I'm like, I can have one or two drinks and be fine. And I would have one or two drinks, and then I would just, it's almost like sticking the tip of your dick into a pussy.
Yeah, you're like, why not just go the full Monty?
Yeah. Oh, you put your dick in. All right, now pull out and sit in the corner of the room and have a conversation with your friends. I'm like, I want to fucking come.
Yeah,
that's how it felt, dude.
I'm trying to get off. You know?
I remember one time my friend, she looked at me. She's like, "Are you okay?" And I was just like, "Oh, yeah." And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I want to drive everyone home and go back to my parents' basement and start drinking.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, all right, I drank for several years after that, but that's where that's when the
germ of like, oh, this is
not
I don't
normal.
have the same relationship that other people have to this.
Dude.
Yeah. The thing that's kind of been the most surprising in the last couple of months is like, one, and I guess this is kind of expected. Sometimes I'll be like, I want to drink.
Yeah.
But I don't want to have drink. So there's like that kind of like flip in it where I'm like, well, I don't want to have drink, so I don't want to drink.
Yeah.
But like the types of drinking that like look appealing to me is not the type of drinking I was like primarily doing. It was like the drinking that now I see it, I'm like, oh, this is the drinking because of how I drank. I didn't allow myself to do this. Like before I stopped drinking, I was like starting to get into like natural wines, and like I was like martinis and like really good cocktails and stuff. But most of my drinking was going to a bar and getting a beer shot combo. And I knew I didn't need the shot, but for $1 extra, I'd be a fool not to get that shot. You know,
you're losing money not getting that shot.
I'd be an idiot. Yeah. You know, are you nuts? A PBR tall boy is $6, but with a shot of whiskey, it's $7. You're not getting deals like this everywhere. Yeah. I'd be a fool. And that's like most of my drinking. And like when I'm out with friends and someone gets like a martini, and like martinis were my favorite cocktail towards the end. And I was like, fuck, like that looks good. Like, and it's like, or like a glass of wine with Christmas dinner or something like that, where it's like the drinking I kind of took for granted. Yeah. That like, I'm now like, oh, I won't get to do this because, and it's like, it's almost like not an envy of the drinking. It's an envy of people's relationships to alcohol that I think is better than what I have.
Yeah, I relate to that so much because it's almost like a regular person who could just have a drink and then that's it. It's like, fuck, I wish I could do that. But what I've come to terms with is that I can't, because I can't change my whatever it is, whether it's
your
brain
wiring
chemistry
or whatever. Yeah.
Whether it's it's interesting, like, because I've been thinking of like, is it biology or is it the way I was raised, or was I just very depressed for a long time and I was self-medicating that, or all of those things to different proportions?
I'm guessing it's some of all of it, if I do, because that's what it was for me, you know.
And to me, it's like it doesn't. But I mean, it's an interesting question. It ultimately doesn't matter.
It's moot, you know, because like trying to justify why your relationship to alcohol isn't as healthy as other people's. It's like, well, what's the answer going to provide? It's still, it is what it is. And you just have to accept that.
And I think the stakes are so high. For example, if doctors came out tomorrow and they were like, we have a pill that you could take, and we're 99.9% sure that if you take this pill, you could drink normally again. Do you want to take the pill? I'd be like, I'll just keep not drinking. Because the risk is so high, you know what I mean? Because if there's a 0.1% chance that pill doesn't work, and I have a drink and I'm back to where I was pre-2016, it's not a nice place to be.
Yeah,
you know, at the very worst, I'm putting myself in physical danger, and at the least, I'm just. And this is just me.
Yeah,
I was kind of a loser when I drank. You know what I mean? I just wasn't up to my full potential. And some people aren't like that. Even other problem drinkers, it's like, well, they would be better, but they're still pretty great, even though they have this handicap. For me, I mean, I was just like a fat guy living in my mom's basement. You know what I mean?
It was like
doing stand-up.
Severely handicapping where you could be going in life.
Dude, talking about how one day I was going to do stand-up, worst person to be. If you're doing that right now, stop telling people you're going to
go sign up for a fucking open mic.
Just do an open mic or
shut up.
Until you do several open mics in a row. Never talk about doing stand-up ever again, because it's making the people around you uncomfortable.
Severely. It's so uncomfortable. Sometimes I'll like go to a party with like people I know from outside of comedy, and like, when you're around a bunch of people who aren't like doing something creative, it's very like taboo, I suppose. And like someone will like latch on. They'll be like, dude, I think I could do it. I'm like, fucking do it. I don't know what to tell you. You know, it's like I'm not like gonna be your shaman. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna like shepherd you through the beginning of comedy. You just have to go figure this out for yourself.
Dude, I remember one time
I always encourage them. I'm like, if you want to do it. But like, I would be doing you a disservice if I held your hand,
right,
and took you through this.
There was a guy, and this has happened to me multiple times, where a guy, you know, at a party corners you and goes, I want to do stand up. And it's like, okay, well, it's the simplest thing in the world. You don't have to buy any equipment. It's just like Google open mic, go to that open mic, talk into the microphone, see what happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's no barrier to entry.
No barrier to entry. And fucking, I remember one time, so I nicer than that, obviously. I was like, oh, well, then do an open mic, see how you feel. And then he goes, the idea, though, is very scary. And the idea of speaking in public terrifies me. And
like you would have some magic answer.
Yeah, I guess this was like, I was a little less sanguine than I could be, because I went, oh, okay, well, then I guess you shouldn't do it then. Because what do you want?
Yeah, I guess like go fuck yourself.
See, I've always wanted to play basketball, but like, I don't want to jump. I'm like, you can't play basketball.
You can't just live at the free throw line, brother. You gotta learn to drive the basket. But what I like, the realization that I came to, and is actually like, I do feel pretty good about this, is like, as far as like my, like, where I am in life and where I was when I stopped drinking. I was like, for someone who's constantly shooting themselves in the foot as they were going through life, I did pretty well, I think. You know what I mean? I'm like I wasn't like you said you were living at home and stuff. Like I made it out, but I was like, I did hit a point where it's like, oh, this is getting in the way of my dreams and stuff. And that's when I was like, oh, this has to go,
And I think you'll find that like untying the other hand behind your back is like monumental.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or at least the awareness of the rope. Like at least like being aware of the rope, that you're like, oh fuck, I'm only using my left hand. Oh, how do I figure out to use my right? At least you're not using your right hand,
Dude, that is okay, because some people have their hand tied behind their back, and some people don't know that their hand is tied behind their back. That's an incredible way to put it, dude.
Yeah, like the awareness of the hand being behind your back.
Yeah, I so I'm interested, since you're 3 months into your
not quite, almost
3 months
approaching. Yes.
Dude, it's exciting because for me to hear that's where you are with it, because when I was 2 months in, I had moved out of my parents' house, got a job, and started doing stand-up. So to me, it was like things just started coming together. Like you said, you were kind of you had you were like holding yourself back and you didn't even know it.
Yeah.
So it's so exciting. And as your friend, I'm like, I can't wait to see what Bo is gonna do. Have you had any? Because you said your parents. Your family is very supportive, buying you non-alcoholic beers. What have other people's reactions been?
All positive. I don't think I've met like any resistance from anyone. No one. I've never, at least, like interpreted people's responses being like, oh, by you saying this, like it's like you're telling me I have this problem, and I've never encountered, not that I necessarily anticipated that, but like I haven't encountered like any of that, which has been nice. The thing that I've come to, I don't love talking about sobriety with people who are still drinking. I will, but it's like, I don't want it to come off as like, oh, I'm preaching. I'm telling you my experience to tell you what I think of your experience, which I'm not. I cast no judgment on other people, just because I had a problem and you hung out with me.
Right.
It's all relative, And so I'm always like afraid to talk about it with people who are drinking, because not that I think they're interpreting that way. I don't want people to interpret anything that way.
And I feel the same way. And I am very careful in normal, not on the podcast, but in normal conversation.
Yeah, this has been the sober episode.
In normal conversation, I try not to stand on the soapbox, but in the other direction, a thing that I will not do is act as sort of like a soundboard for someone talking through their own addiction in a way where I tell them it's okay when I think it might not be. So for like example, like someone would be like, oh, you're sober? Wow, man, that's so great for you. I never I got a DUI, but like everybody gets DUIs, which is not true.
I never had a DUI. Did you ever get a DUI?
No, because I never got caught.
Hey, same. I used to pride myself on drunk driving.
It's the most pathological. I actually like, because the thing that I would do is like, I would be like, save the drinking for when you drive home and you're alone in your parents' basement, which is better for the people around you, but sounds even sadder than drinking and driving.
It sounds worse, but it is safer.
But drinking and driving was one of those things where I'm like, well, I'll never do that. If I do that, I know I have a problem. And then I do it and I'd be like, all right, time to move the goalposts.
Yeah.
A lot of, when you're active drinking, a lot of goalpost moving is done.
Yes. Yeah. Like I just think of like I never really thought of myself as a self-destructive drinker. Like I never was like particularly self-destructive. But now that I'm like about 3 months removed from this, I wasn't self-destructive because by the grace of whatever energy like runs the world, like like literally physically stopped me
Yeah.
from being it wasn't because I wasn't self-destructive.
Your guardian angel is just
Yes.
taking a sigh of relief.
I have like many moments where I'm like looking back and I'm like, oh, something terrible should have happened, but like my keys were in I drunkenly left my keys at someone else's apartment and I couldn't get in my car to drive to McDonald's or whatever, you know? It's like there's that kind of stuff where I'm like, oh, like I should like 9 out of 10 times I have access to my keys. I'm able to get in my car. I drive, I die, or I hurt someone else, you know, like, and there's all kinds of stuff like that where I'm like, I wasn't self-destructive because God, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's God necessarily, you know what I mean? Though, like, all kinds of shit like that.
Yeah, 100%, dude. It's it's so very. It puts me in a weird position because I had this conversation with somebody who was like, yeah, you know, like I'll black out every once in a while, but like people black out, and like what I want to say and what I don't say is most people have never blacked out.
Is that true though?
Dude, I have this conversation with people. Most people, because I'm just curious now, I'm like, who's blacked out? I ask most people. Most of them say, I think I did once. And then they'll describe a scenario that as a drinking person, I wouldn't even describe as blacking out. Like they'll be like, I remember like, I didn't know at what time I left the apartment. Like,
you just forgot to look at the clock.
Yeah. They're like, and you know, like did I brush my teeth? Whereas I'm like, I will have had a full conversation with someone. This was a trope when I went to college, is that I would walk into a room and go, hey man, Bobby, nice to meet you. And everyone in the room would laugh because they'd be like, you seriously, you spent the whole night with this person. And I'm like, that's hours of my memory that I just don't have.
I've certainly like had full-fledged blackout, but it wasn't like I would definitely drink enough to black out, but I wouldn't always black out.
Yeah.
You know, like I've only like properly blacked out maybe once or twice, a couple of times in college, but like I would drink enough to and that's where I would refer to it as browning out.
Browning out, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Like where it's like, I remember ebbs and flows and like not specifics, but like broad strokes of an evening.
Dude, I got to a point. It's so funny how drinking affects people differently, because even you, somebody that like has stopped and has browned out a lot, you just said that I blacked out a couple of times. I think the last year of drinking, I blacked out every single time.
Oh, wow.
Like every single time. If I was somewhere else, I didn't remember how I got home. You know, like every night ended with like a conversation with a friend, and then I woke up in my bed.
Yeah.
Which I think I think I'd be cognitively in a better position than I am now if I had not done that to myself.
Of course. Yeah. I have many nights, like even like towards the end, where I'd wake up in my bed and I'd be like, how did I get here? And then I'd have to like rack my brain and like replay the night. And then I would like get there and be like, oh yeah. And then I left. But like that initial shock of like kind of waking up being like, how did I get here? Or like waking up somewhere else, you know? And you're like, where the fuck am I? And it's like deeply scary.
Yeah.
It's like, why did I keep doing that to myself?
Yeah.
That was more like a college thing. Wake up at like some lady's apartment, or it happens,
or some fella's apartment,
or like a frat house. That I woke up in like on a couch in a frat house at a school I didn't even go to.
That rules. Hell yeah, dude.
It's like, where the fuck am I, dude? And then like talk to my friend. That was like when I was like 18, so that was like proper blackout. They're like, dude, like you like fucking were like peeing on the sidewalk and stuff. And I'm like, I never do that. It was like, you did when you blacked out one time, you know, like it's just like kind of, but that was also that wasn't when I was like 29 and stopping. That was when I was like 18 and getting going.
I have a scar on my chin that I got from the last, it's almost like comical how cliche this is, but the scar on my chin I got from the very last night I drank. and I do not know how I got it.
Oh hell yeah, dude.
So it's like and it opens up like I cut myself shaving like I want to say every other time because I've never
obviously you're not using Harry's razors. Cut free since 93. Harry's razors.
Use promo code fucking
Blackout.
promo code. You're doing the plugs and also the riffs. You do it all, folks. If you have a podcast, have Ballew on your podcast.
I'll do your ad reads and I'll throw in some blue spice on there for you too.
So it's like it's almost like a fun physical reminder of like, hey, don't drink again because you hurt yourself and don't remember why when you drink.
It's so scary to think about. It's like,
dude, it's crazy. And I'm just happy I figured it out at 25. How old are you?
I'm 29.
You just saved so much time because some people figure it out and they're fucking 68.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I figure like most of my 20s were spent like ignoring the fact that I should probably stop drinking. And then I kind of like a couple months after I turned 29, I'm like, all right, now I'm like, okay, now like as I approach 30 and stuff, this thing's not a part of my life anymore.
So, and part of your realization came from conversations with your therapist.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was really like me just like airing out like stuff to her that I was like feeling and then like gaslighting myself into like being like, that's not true though, you know, because it was like, I'm not an everyday alcoholic, so it's fine. You know, I just binge drink, you know, like it was like that kind of like, and then being like, I just need to stop binge drinking. And then it was like, that should be easy. And then you'd like go out once where you were, I'm saying you, but I'm referring to myself. I'd go out like once where I didn't binge drink. And it was like, see, I got this figured out. And then it would be like the next like 2 months of going out would be like binge drinking. And then it was like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'd be like, maybe I'm probably like, no, I don't. Yeah. You know what I mean?
The idea of being like, I didn't binge drink tonight and then thinking that means I'm not an alcoholic. Instead of like, that's what an alcoholic thinks. So like most people are not walking around going like, I didn't binge drink tonight. They just don't want to.
And then I'd have like nights where I'd be out with friends and I'd be like, wow, we were actually like really responsible drinking today. I was like, dude, we had 10 drinks. I'm like, that's not that bad. We paced it out.
Yeah. And like you said before, like if you think of like a beer as being like a half a loaf of bread, it's like even if you're not getting intoxicated, if you have 10 drinks, that's 5 loaves of bread. That's
a lot of like, bread. Yes. And let me tell you, bread is very good.
I love bread.
Yeah. It's like now I'm like, I'd rather just have some good sourdough.
Oh,
you know?
Dude. I feel very blessed in that I prefer wheat toast over white toast.
It's an acquired taste, I think, because I'm kind of the same way just because I've forced myself to be.
I don't know. Because by the way, white pasta over brown rice. Oh, I'm sorry. White rice over brown rice.
Why?
Regular pasta over, and I'm not saying
Oh,
health-wise.
you're talking about you. Like
for
your
taste.
preferences. Okay.
Because I don't want it to come off as like, I actually prefer all the healthy options. In most cases, that's not true. But for whatever reason, I actually prefer whole wheat toast over white toast.
What's like your go-to brand type?
Oh, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it. Stroman, the bread.
Does that kind of come in like kind of like a clear bag, but it's kind of got like a tint to it, so it's not like completely plastic, kind of yellowish label? I don't know Stroman's.
Yeah, what I like is it's like, and I'm kind of a psycho about my calories, so it's 90 calories, which is like the lowest amount of calories you could find in a bread that's not entirely made of sugar. Because you could get like 60 or 70 calorie bread, but it's like basically like sugar paste.
Right.
That's how they make it taste good. but there's also like other bread that's like 110 calories, something. So it's like a
that's
nice,
interesting.
yeah. So I'm brand loyal with my bread. So since I'm brand loyal, I should remember the name of the brand. I'm pretty sure it's Stroman's.
Yeah, he's a brand man, but he doesn't know the brand.
I love that. I have just like oh, I recognize that color, and then it's fucking. But yeah, dude, I love. You're a food guy and you're a movie guy.
Yeah, I consider myself a movie guy, and I consider myself a big food guy.
So if you were on death row, let's say for killing too hard on stage.
Okay.
And you're on death row. They're like, Bo, you cracked up that room too much. We gotta. And you're from Texas, so you know how it goes.
Yeah, they'd put me to the chair. I'd be like, well, this is Texas, baby. You know,
everything's bigger in Texas. There's even the capital justice system,
including capital punishment laws.
Dude, you ever see that video of like George W. Bush while he's still governor, like laughing about executing a woman who found Jesus?
No.
And to be fair, a lot of people that quote unquote find Jesus on death row, I do think are full of shit.
Sure.
But it was just like he didn't care about the optics at all.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, I love Jesus now. You're still, getting executed." Like, hell yeah, dude. That's like such a fun now watch this drive moment on George W. Bush's part. Okay, so you're being executed by the state, Bo. Let's not get into why, but you got a last meal. What's your last meal?
I feel like if I was going like proper last meal, like I probably wouldn't even choose my favorite meal. I would go comfort.
Interesting.
Like I would go like my favorite meal that I would have in my house growing up. I don't even know if this would probably be what I would pick.
Okay.
It was a very simple thing that we would have all the time, like barbecue baked beans and like a grilled chicken sandwich and like a teriyaki like marinade with grilled pineapple on top.
Oh, that sounds.
It's like every time I go to my parents' house, I ask them to make it because it's like it just is like comfort, like childhood food, and I still love it. But I wouldn't say that's like the best thing I've ever had in the world, food wise. But I would definitely like on death row go comfort.
Comfort. Okay. Yeah, I get it, man.
You know, like I'm about to die. I want to feel like comfortable. What about you? I'd go dessert too, but I don't know what I would do.
So I think that the Cajun chicken pasta from Chili's, it has to be from Chili's.
Chili's? Why? Why?
I think I'm also going the comfort route. And when I go to and I'm very like cognizant of like I want to get my macros in, you know what I mean? So,
sure,
like,
yeah, you want to look good for God. Of course. It's like that song about that little. It's like that song about that little boy who goes up to the man in the store. He's like, "Sir, can you help me buy these shoes so my mom looks pretty when she meets Jesus tonight?" You're like, I want to look nice and ripped.
I want to look ripped for the Lord.
I've seen a crucifix. I know how much micros and macros Jesus was putting down, you know?
Warden, can I please have grilled chicken, no spices, brown rice, broccoli, not seasoned, protein powder, a jug of water, whey protein, creatine, Trenbolol, right into my ass, and then a personal trainer that makes me do sit-ups until I die. That's how I want to die, not in the electric chair.
I know.
And
how
then
God
Jesus Christ himself will blow me. Fuck it, I'll make use of all the holes.
I've had one food item at Chili's my whole life.
Really?
Chili's was my favorite restaurant when I was a kid.
Okay.
Now Chili's kind of exists for me as like it's a really solid. You're driving through the middle of nowhere and you see a Chili's. You're like, nice, Chili's. That's where I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Chicken crispers. The tempura battered chicken crispers are the only thing I've ever had at Chili's. If it ain't broke, don't fucking fix it. That's what I say. And I love those chicken crispers.
I do. I don't know if I've ever had the chicken crispers from Chili's.
They're good. When they're like the tempura battered.
Okay.
Yeah. I had Chili's in the airport and I got the chicken crispers. It was just regular chicken tenders. I was like, the fuck is this?
Yeah. Excuse me, can I speak to the manager? And they're like, this is an airport Chili's.
You're in the Orlando International Airport. You can fuck off.
Oh, man. Oh, dessert, something with chocolate and peanut butter.
Oh,
I love chocolate and peanut butter.
Chocolate and peanut butter. cookies and cream, and dark horse is s'mores.
Ooh.
Though, like not necessarily a s'more, but like the s'more flavor combination.
Okay, yeah.
Those I think are the 3 best like dessert kind of like flavors. Like anything cookies and cream, I'm gonna get. That's probably number 1. Number 2 is chocolate peanut butter. I'm with you on chocolate peanut butter.
Oh my God, dude. I used to, when I there was this one restaurant, Emerald Point in Green Lake, if anybody's interested. I don't know if they still serve this dessert, but it was like a Reese's cake. And it was it was like a cake with peanut butter in the middle.
Like a molten thing?
Yeah, with like mousse on top. And then like also like would shave peanuts on top.
Fuck me.
Dude, I love peanuts and peanut butter and anything that involves peanuts. And
do you like boiled peanuts?
No, I feel like that's a Southern thing.
It is. I love boiled peanuts. I have a couple cans of them in my apartment. Next time I make them, I'll bring some to the cupboard for you to try.
Yes, please.
They're incredible, dude.
Dude, boiled peanuts. It's one of those it actually, I have to be honest with you, sounds gross, but I trust you that it's not.
They're really good. They're like incredible. It's my favorite way to eat a peanut that's not peanut butter.
Okay.
And you can only do it with a certain kind of peanut. Like don't get it twisted. Don't go to the Trader Joe's and buy just a bag of peanuts and think you can boil those suckers. Because let me tell you, you cannot do that. It has to be a green peanut.
A green peanut?
Why? I do not know. But green peanuts are the only type of peanuts that you can boil.
I'm just learning that there's different colored peanuts.
I don't even think they're necessarily green in color. I mean, maybe like slightly. Maybe there's like a slight hint, but that's like the breed of peanut that you boil for boiled peanuts.
Yeah.
And boiled peanuts, if you like peanuts, boy, you're gonna love boiled peanuts.
But I'm thinking, can I get like a chocolate cake with chocolate mousse with vanilla ice cream on top?
Oh, a la mode all the fucking way,
dude.
Mode,
peanut shavings, boiled peanuts around the plate. Just surrounded by boiled peanuts.
Sure.
And then scoops of peanut butter on top. And then...
No, you don't want to scoop the peanut butter. What you want to do is put the peanut butter in a bowl, microwave it for a little bit so it's a little melted, and then drizzle it on top like it's a syrup.
Oh, peanut butter drizzle as if it's a syrup. Dude, I'm getting hard.
You look like you just had a cup of coffee, Bobby.
Dude, oh my God. I was just going to say that whatever the drink would have to be probably a black cup of coffee. And then that pairing... What a fucking white trash piece of shit. Chocolate cake, peanut butter, black coffee. Mwah.
It sounds good. It sounds real good.
Hell yeah, dude. Because my friend Mark Henley, may he live forever, he sends
you
me.
made it sound like he was dead.
He likes to send me because there's this guy on Instagram that will just have the last meal of whatever a serial killer had. And that's how he like rates the last meal. Which I think is beautiful. It'd be so. And I'm making all this up, but I'm making up this example. Is like John Wayne Gacy had, fried chicken from this restaurant for his last meal, and I had the fried chicken, and it was pretty good. Yeah, and I just love that idea.
Yeah.
So he had one where he was like, so and so had a chocolate cake and a chocolate milkshake, and I'm like, that's too much. That's too much.
That's a hat on a hat. As
yeah, it's a hat on a hat. Yes, 100%, dude. My favorite last meal, Timothy McVeigh of the Oklahoma City bombing fame.
Of course, naturally.
PETA convinced him to have a vegetarian last meal.
Wow.
Which is very funny. He decided to be compassionate towards the end.
Yeah.
And 2 pints of mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
2 pints? That sounds fucking miserable.
It's
1 pint is great. And I feel like death after a pint.
And 1 pint is like 1,400 calories. Like you can't even really eat. You could have like a big breakfast.
I guess.
If you know you're going to eat a pint of ice cream
after the
later.
Oklahoma City bombing, he was like, Satan doesn't care what I look like. He's like, God, I'm not going to see God. So
you don't have to look hot for the devil.
No, the devil don't care. I'll fuck you anyways.
So, Bo, if people want to DM you what their last meal might be, how can they do that?
Oh, we didn't even talk about movies. That's too bad.
That's going to be part 2 because you're coming back, baby.
Oh, I would love
We're
to.
going to talk all about Night Windows when you come back.
Night Moves.
See, I don't even remember the name of the movie.
Night Moves. Great movie. Bobby asked me for a movie recommendation. I recommended it to Bobby. Gene Hackman plays a former football player who has become a private detective. Great 70s noir. You see boobs in it. It's cool.
That's part of his plug.
My name's Bo Ballew. You can follow me on Instagram at Bobo Ballew. That's BOBOBALLEW. And remember, Harry's Razors. Cut free since 93.
And also remember, folks, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. I'm just playing night owls. You know I love you.
Yeah, stay up late. Fuck it.
Thank you.